The Shape of Tomorrow. Written by Khaled Abu El-Atta. Epigraph. There are days when the past feels heavier than the future. Days when we carry our stories like old photographs. Creased, faded, yet never forgotten. Still, tomorrow waits. Not like a clock moving forward, but like a question we have not yet learned how to ask. I have lived inside that question many times, and each time I lost who I thought I was, something new appeared beneath the ruin, a softer shape, a braver one. This is not a book about technology, nor about machines, or even progress. It is about beginning again, not because we must, but because we can. It is about standing at the edge of what comes next and choosing creation instead of collapse. In a world constantly redrawn, we are no longer storytellers. We are story builders. Chapter 1, The Dawn of Innovation. Everything new begins in silence. Shadows before the light. Before every idea, there is a quiet moment where the world seems to hold its breath. Innovation is often imagined as lightning, sudden and undeniable, yet in truth it begins in stillness. It starts when something no longer fits, when a question appears, a longing grows, and a whisper inside the mind says that this cannot be all there is. Innovation is born inside doubt. It does not knock. It lingers, waiting for us either to ignore it or to let it in. That is where KX 2026 began, not with solution, but with a shadow, echoes of emergence. The future hums before it speaks. Before transformation arrives, it flickers quietly like static on a distant radio. You cannot hear it clearly, yet you sense its presence. It appears in small moments, a sentence that stays with you, an image you cannot explain, an idea that visits in sleep and leaves its trace behind. These are the echoes of emergence. They do not shout, they whisper. The future rarely arrives all at once. It slips gently into the present through perception. A new design, a shift in how beauty is understood, a subtle discomfort with what once felt certain. Change begins not in technology, but in awareness, when the inner world no longer matches the outer one. KX 2026 was never born in a laboratory. It was born in longing. Longing for new meanings, new questions, and new identities untouched by the past. I noticed it in unfinished sketches, strange color palettes, and conversations that began with a quiet admission. I don't know why, but it felt like a language trying to write itself, and I chose to listen. Emergence is not a spotlight. It is a crack in the wall letting in just enough light to make you wonder what lies beyond. It is neither beginning nor ending, only the hum before the sun. Gee. The question that awakens. What if you could see the future? We do not change the world by answering. We change it by asking better questions. This question did not arrive like revelation. It drifted slowly into empty spaces and unfinished ideas that refused to disappear. It was not asking for prediction, but for commitment. To imagine deeper and to create as if tomorrow were something we shape rather than something we inherit. What if you could see the future? Would you be brave enough to leave parts of yourself behind to meet I? T? The question softens the ego and reminds us that comfort is not our final form. We have already seen glimpses of what is coming in unexpected digital art, in emotion emerging from code, and in spaces that feel alive despite being virtual. Yet seeing the future is not enough. It must be answered with imagination, with design, and with the courage to move beyond rules written before we existed. KX 2026 is not only a journey. It is that question made visibly. When we stop fearing what comes next and begin inviting it, we realize something quietly profound. The future has been waiting for us all along.